Hey everyone, Michael Kerr here on this episode of 5 Minutes with, yes, it is 5 Minutes with the one and only Todd Hirsch. Welcome, Todd, to 5 Minutes. The clock is going. I'm excited to talk to you. So let me introduce Todd very quickly. Todd Hirsch is a I love that, recovering corporate economist who is busy unlearning 30 years of economics in a world that has turned upside down, which I think we can relate to. So thank you, Todd, for being here. Let me ask you this. Now, Todd is going to share how spiders in space can help. That sounds like an awesome horror movie title. Can help us deal with uncertainty and change. Let me ask you this, Todd. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the level of uncertainty in the world right now?
I would say, first of all, Michael, thanks for having me on the podcast. I would say we're at a 9.5. Actually, I don't think we're at 10 quite yet. And we've been at other points in history, the beginning of COVID, 9/11, where the world probably did feel like 10 out of 10. I'd
Right.
say we're pretty high, but maybe a 9.5.
9.5. That sounds high to me. Okay, so let's dive into this. What the heck are you talking about? Tell us about spiders in space and what this has to do with dealing with uncertainty and change.
Well, over the decades, NASA has been conducting experiments with spiders in zero gravity. And in the 2011 round of experiments, the spiders, they taught themselves to build brand new structures of web. It was really remarkable. Rather than lowering themselves down, as they would here on Earth, and using gravity to build tension in the web, the spiders sort of taught themselves new techniques, pushing themselves off the edge of the container and building tension in their threads that way. I just thought it was a remarkable story of how do you adapt when
Right.
everything you thought you knew about your life or your business changes in an instant,
Or building webs if you're a spider
or building
in
webs if
zero
you're a
gravity.
spider.
Right. So what is the big lesson you take away from these spiders learning how to build webs in zero gravity in space?
Well, there's actually quite a few lessons, and my co-author and I, we've actually written two books about the lessons that the spiders teach us. But, in the time we have, the one lesson that I love talking about is that the spiders did not have to change their core story. They didn't change their DNA. Spiders are trappers. They build web to catch their prey. That story doesn't change in zero gravity. They still spun web.
Right.
They didn't have to morph into some predator spider that they are not.
Right.
What did change is the environment that they were operating in. So your story doesn't change. And that's the lesson for humans. When we are hit with sudden, abrupt, unwanted change, we have to know who we are. We have to know who we are as a business. We have to know who we are as an individual, a not for profit. If you don't nail your story, you're going to be in trouble when the unwanted change hits you.
Oh, that's fabulous. I love that. So they didn't change fundamentally what they are, who they
Right.
are, and
They
we
just have
shouldn't
to change.
either.
They
Yeah.
just have to change, how do we do it?
How do we do it? Right. Okay. And the spiders figured it out. So tell us the name of your books for
The
folks.
name of the book is Spiders in Space: Successfully Adapting to Unwanted Change. And I do have a copy of it somewhere here. I
That
should have had that handy. Actually, I
that
don't have it handy, but Spiders in Space. And then we wrote a sequel called Spiders in COVID Space. And that had to do with companies and individuals and not for profits who pivoted in a really creative way over the COVID pandemic.
pivot. I think we have to take a drink whenever we say the word pivot still. I think that's a thing. So thank you, Todd. So Spiders in Space, that has got to be one of the best book titles I have heard in a long time. So I highly recommend both of those books to people because, as you said, this is an incredibly uncertain time. So
We're
if there's just one thing you would tell a leader of a team or a leader in a business about dealing with uncertainty, what would your main message be to somebody like in that position?
Well, I think my main message, and this draws from a sort of Stoic philosophy, which maybe some of the listeners will be familiar with. You got to focus on the things that are under your control and not give too much energy to the things outside of your control. So we live in a world where, the president of the United States at any minute could say something and it changes fundamentally the environment we're living in. We actually can't control that. We can only control our own actions and reactions. And I'd focus on that.
Fabulous. Fabulous way to end. We are getting down to 8 seconds. Todd, thank you for being with me on 5 Minutes with Todd Hirsch.
Thank you, Michael.